If you are writing a paper in the American Psychological Association, or APA style, there are two types of citations you need to know. Reference list citations appear at the end of your paper. In-text citations are used in the body of your paper. These shortened citations help readers match the information in your paper to the reference list source where you found it. For example, if you were writing about how to better engage the public in wildlife conservation, you might want to use this article as a source. The citation in your reference list would look like this. But you also need to identify which parts of your paper were supported by the information in this article. You can do this by creating an in-text citation. In APA style, this is fairly simple. You just need to identify the last names of the authors and the date of publication. For this article, you would cite Gunther and Shanahan. There are several dates listed, but you only need the year of the publication, which is 2020. In the text of your paper, you would include the author's last names and the year of publication in parentheses at the end of each sentence that draws information from that source. If you use an entire paragraph to talk about the same source, you can do one in-text citation at the end of the last sentence of the paragraph. The in-text citation lets a reader go back to the original source where you found your information. Citing tells your reader you have backing evidence for what you are saying. If you consult multiple sources that say the same thing, you might have more than one in-text citation connected to a sentence. Citing more than one source that has the same information would look like this. The in-text citations are ordered alphabetically. Each citation is separated by a semicolon. In this case, the second source is a source with just one author. Sometimes for variety or clarity, you might want to use a narrative in-text citation. In this case, you work your author's last names into the text of your discussion. Notice that you spell out the "and" rather than use an ampersand with this type of in-text citation. The publication year is placed in parentheses immediately after the author's names. Science is becoming more and more collaborative, which means you may have a large number of authors who contributed to a study. The current version of APA has made this easy for you. Anytime you use a source that has 3 or more authors, you will use just the first author's last name followed by et al. With a period. Et al. Is a Latin abbreviation meaning "and others." So in this example, you are basically saying Baden and all those other people when you cite this article. So far, all of our in-text citation examples have been for when you paraphrase information or put it in your own words. Direct quotations where you repeat exactly what someone else said should be used sparingly in science papers. However, you may sometimes need to quote a specific phrase. In this case, you would add the page number of where you found that quote to your in-text citation. For example, if I wanted to use this author's definition, I might write, "De-extinction is creating living organisms that are genetically very similar to members of an extinct species." Sandler, 2017, page 1. Or, Sandler, 2017, defined de-extinction as creating living organisms that are genetically very similar to members of an extinct species. Page 1. Notice that the page number is always placed immediately after the quotation. Online resources do not always give an exact page number. If you run into this situation, you can reference the paragraph, table, or other marker that makes sense for that situation. In-text citation may seem like a chore, but they are incredibly important. Citing experts gives what you write more credibility and helps you build a case for an argument that is hard to refute. Anyone reading your paper should be able to use your in-text citations and reference list to verify every point you make from the original source. Without citations, you are a lone voice. With citations, you have an army of experts on your side. Citations also help you give credit where credit is due. Using someone else's words or ideas without citing them is plagiarism, which can destroy your reputation, not to mention your grades. When in doubt, cite. It is always better to cite too frequently than not enough. If you have questions about in-text citations, TCC has a number of resources to help you. Make sure you download the TCC Library's APA guide to refer back to while you are formatting your citations. You also have access to in-person, online, and email appointments with the TCC Writing Center. Writing tutors are available to give you individual help. You can also attend APA-style writing workshops that are offered throughout the semester at the Writing Center. If you have APA questions, we have answers.